have wept and I have fallen. Don't you worry about me, 'cause I stood up, yes I have grown. The pain has set me free. And like a broken record in my head.
Welcome back to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
This is Carlos RCG Dixon.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
Louisville's finest, DJ Ice.
All right, welcome back to Conscious Fever, Real Nice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. Listen, I just froze. I don't know why I froze, and that's why I went off the air and came back. But if I freeze again, I'm out of here. I'm going home. I can't deal with this equipment tonight. Anyway, we're talking about, I need to do all of this over again. We're talking about Sarah Rector, the richest black girl who struck oil back in the early 1900s. Richest black girl in the United States. I think she was only 12 years old. We're also talking about Brittney Griner, Herschel Walker, Michael Parsons, and something else. I'm just too discombobulated to talk about it. Anyway, I'll be right back. We're going to talk about that stuff. You're watching me here on Conscious Fever Radio, Ice Entertainment Television. I am Carl Price, your host. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back.
Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me.
And we are back with more Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price, Esquire.
All right, hey, welcome back to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. I am Carl Price, your host. I want to talk to y'all about somebody tonight. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. If I freeze, I am going off the air, okay? Her name is Sarah Rector. Maybe you know this, maybe you don't. But she struck oil, okay? And when she struck oil on land, she was allotted by the government. She struck oil on land that the government gave to her, right? She became the richest black girl in the country. Unfortunately, few people know her story. So I want to talk about her tonight, if it's okay with y'all. Sarah Rector was born in 1902, near the all-black town of Taft. Her parents, Mother Rose McQueen and Father Joseph Rector, were descendants of Africans enslaved by the Muscogee Nation Creek Indians before the Civil War. Now, for those of you who have actually never seen her, I want to get to a different screen and hopefully things will go as planned. Let me just get myself back up in here. My apologies, y'all, but this is the stuff that happens when you're not, when things are not going as planned. Where is this? Am I locked? Okay. Just bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. I'm going to come back into the screen. A little bit here. I can't believe this, man. I can't believe this. Let me get myself, give me camera link 2. There we go. I'll put myself there if that's okay with y'all. Okay. Don't know what that is back there, but I'm going to unlock the screen and make it something, whatever that is back there. Yeah. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Because I got something to talk to y'all about tonight. Why don't you just go? Why don't you go? Why don't you just stay here? Come on. Oh, God. You get out of my way, please. Okay. Okay, y'all. This is not supposed to happen, y'all. Okay? It's not supposed to happen. So I'm going to talk to y'all about this young lady, but this is going to sort of be the case all night. And again, I apologize for that. But this is the little girl you see. Her parents and their descendants were listed as freemen a term used to refer to formerly enslaved individuals who have since been freed from slavery, usually through the course of law. Therefore, the rectors were entitled to land allotment as part of the Treaty of 1866 made by the United States with the 5 civilized tribes, right? Along with Rector herself, almost 600 black children, also known as Muskogee freedmen miners, were granted allotments of land. Now, this young black girl was given 159.14 acres or 64 head acres of land, which made her the richest black girl in all of America. At the time she was awarded the land, it was considered inferior, infertile soil, which was not suitable for farming. Typically, better land was reserved for white settlers, as well as members of the tribe. Let me come up with something. Members of the tribe. The $30 annual property tax on the young girl's land allotment proved to be a burden on them. Okay, so much so much so that her father petitioned the county court to sell the land. However, the petition was denied due to the restrictions placed on the land. To keep up with the tax payments, her father sold the plot of the Standard, to the Standard Oil Company. Then in 1913, the independent oil driller B.B. Jones drilled a well on the property. This well led to an oil gusher. The driller was able to harvest 2,500 barrels. I understand this is back in the 1900s of oil a day, right? Now, from this well alone, Rector was able to earn a daily income in the 1900s of $300 a day. Okay, in the early 1900s, the law stated that full-blooded Indians, black adults, and children who were citizens of Indian territory with significant property and money were to be assigned white guardians. And these guardians would provide insight into their finances. Of course, as Rector's income grew, there was immense pressure to officially change her guardianship from her parents to a local white resident named TJ or JT Porter, an individual known to the family. Subsequently, her allotment became part of the Cushing Drumright oil field. Now, the news of this young girl's newfound wealth spread far and wide, including overseas. Despite being only 12 years old, she received requests for loans, money, gifts, and marriage proposals, right? You would expect that, right? The Oklahoma legislature in 1913 even made an effort to have her to be declared white. This allowed the young girl to reap the benefits of a higher social standing, such as riding in first-class cars and in first-class cabins on trains. Nonetheless, rumors soon began to fly. Local newspapers called her a white immigrant who was being kept in poverty, claimed that her estate was being mismanaged by her family, and even argued that she was uneducated and led a poor quality of life. National African American leaders such as Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois quickly became concerned about her welfare. You know what they did? In June of 1914, them and James C. Waters Jr., a special agent for the NAACP at that time, sent a memo to Du Bois on her behalf regarding her situation. He wrote her white financial guardian, "It is not possible to have her cared for in a decent manner and by people of her own race, instead of by a member of a race which would deny her and her kind the treatment accorded a good yard dog." Upon reading this, Du Bois was prompted to establish the Children's Department of the NAACP, which would go on to investigate claims of white guardians suspected of depriving black children of their land and wealth. Similarly, Washington, too, intervened to help Rector and her family. In October of the same year, the young girl was enrolled in the children's school. This was a boarding school at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, headed by, of course, Booker T. Washington. When she graduated, she attended the institute. When she graduated, and she did go to Tuskegee, but by the time she turned 18, she was a millionaire. She owned stocks, bonds, a boarding house, businesses, and a 2,000-acre piece of prime river bottomland. Eventually, she and her family left Tuskegee and moved to Kansas City, Missouri, where they purchased a house on 12th Street. The house currently is under the ownership of a local nonprofit that intends to restore it and preserve its historical and cultural significance. It's aptly known as the Rector House. Now, this young girl went on to marry a man by the name of, is it Campbell? Yeah, Kenneth Campbell. Sorry, y'all. Kenneth Campbell in a small private wedding. Only her mother and the bridegroom paternal grandmother were present for the event. Prior to filing for divorce in 1930, the two had 3 sons. Ultimately, Rector lived a comfortable life. She had a taste for fine clothing and cars, and through lavish parties where she entertained celebrities such as Count Basie and Duke Ellington. She passed away in 1967, and her remains were buried in the city cemetery of her hometown of Taft. Interesting, right? I bet y'all didn't know that. She was the richest black girl in the United States. And I know this thing is going to mess with me, so I'm going to do it and show y'all some things. Let's see here. Yep. And we're going to correct them all. But in any case, interesting stuff, right? She was, that was a story that for everybody who didn't know will come to know. Because, she was a girl, and here's some other, highlights of her. I'm going to do this, if y'all don't mind me doing this, because I've got to make some corrections here because my system went bad. But, yeah, for those of y'all who didn't know, this is a bit of history that, we look around and we tend to forget it. But in any case, I'm going to be back. I'm going to talk about WNBA star Brittney Griner and her freedom. Let's talk about that today, because there's quite a bit of stuff that went on today. Carl Price, Conscious Fever, her License Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. Be right back.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
I'm good.
What's your mood?
Happy?
Happy? Well, are you ready for long flight?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Ну, вы знаете, куда вы летите?
Do you know where I'm heading to?
No.
No?
No.
Вы летите домой.
You fly back home
To the U.S.
to the US.
Да, конечно.
Okay.
Так что все будет нормально.
Everything will be fine.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
All right, WNBA star Brittney Griner. She was freed today in a what they refer to as, make sure I get this right now, United States and Russia, a U.S. and Russia prisoner swap. Many of you all know that President Biden on today announced that the United States has secured the release of WNBA star Brittney Griner from Russia, nearly 10 months after she was detained there. After months of being unjustly detained in Russia, held under intolerable circumstances, Brittney will soon be back in the arms of her loved ones, and she should have been there all along, according to President Biden, as he made that statement in the Roosevelt Room. Now, Biden said Griner is in, quote, good spirits, and he thanked the United Arab Emirates for their help in facilitating her release. He said he expected her to be back in the United States in the next 24 hours. Now, the president said that he spoke to Griner over the phone. He was joined for the call by Griner's wife, Sherelle Griner, as well as Vice President Harris and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Now, the United States officials said early Thursday that they had secured Griner's release roughly 300 days after she was first detained in Russia for bringing vape cartridges with hashish oil, I think is what it is, into the country. Now, the Biden administration officials have worked since to bring Griner, as you know, one of the star players on the Phoenix Mercury and an Olympic gold medalist, back home through a what they refer to, this is politics, y'all, a prisoner swap or quote unquote other means. Brittney in August was sentenced to serve 9 years in prison and had been recently transferred to a penal colony. Now, Biden did not detail the specifics of Griner's release, but she was reportedly part of a one-for-one prisoner swap for Victor Bout, an arms dealer sentenced in 2012 to 25 years in prison for many charges related to trafficking, weapons, and conspiring to kill people like you and me that they call Americans. Sherelle Griner at the White House thanked the president and the organizations who helped her during her wife's imprisonment. She said, "Today my family is whole, but as you all are aware, there are so many families that are not whole." She added that she and her wife will remain committed to helping other families, including Paul Whelan. We're going to talk about Paul Whelan here a second, right? She said, "Today's just a happy day for me and my family, so I'm going to smile right now. Thank you," she said. Now, Biden began to face significant pressure to, as you know, to get, Brittney back over here, to get her released. Brittney Griner, as you know, is an accomplished athlete and a black woman, a gay woman, and millions of Americans followed updates on her case as she went through what Biden called a show trial. The agreement that led to Griner's release is likely to draw some criticism, given the United States is releasing a man convicted of selling weapons to terrorists, and experts have expressed concerns that agreeing to prisoner swaps may increase the likelihood Americans abroad are abducted if foreign nations believe they can use them as leverage. Additionally, President Biden was unable to secure the release of Paul Whelan, who has been held in Russia since 2018 on spying charges that he vehemently denies. He has been sentenced to 16 years in prison. Now, the president acknowledged Whelan's family likely has mixed feelings, he said, quote unquote, about seeing Brittney Griner's release while Whelan remains in prison. But the president vowed to continue pursuing and pushing for Whelan's return back to the United States. Now, sadly, for totally illegitimate reasons, Biden said Russia is treating Paul's case, that's Paul Whelan, his case different than Brittney's. And while we have not yet succeeded in securing Paul Whelan's release, we are not giving up. We will never give up, according to President Biden. American Mark Fogel is also imprisoned in Russia, and State Department officials have said they will pursue his release on humanitarian grounds, but have not applied the determination that the Pennsylvania native is unjustly detained or being held for political purposes. Interesting, y'all. And so the reason I say this is interesting is because you knew that this was going to cause some discussion and some debate, right? And part of that debate is that, wait a minute, is her celebrity status the reason that she's been swapped instead of the Marine that's over there? I don't know. I don't know whether Comedy Central is on tonight, but if it is, y'all can comment about it, and we can talk about that. It's. I'm gonna say something, and I know it may not sound, the best, but it's sort of a reverse, right? I mean, I think everybody thought that maybe the white guy would be swapped sooner than the black girl. Here comes the politics. The black girl just happens to be a celebrity, right? She just happens to be an athlete, and that's where her celebrity status comes from. You know how we treat athletes over here, and she happens to be gay. All of that politics, all of that political. If you think of a rubber band that's been rolled so big that it's this big, all of that is just rolled up into politics, right? Who do you secure? Do you secure a Marine? You would, obviously make a lot of people happy. Or do you instead try to secure somebody that, is a celebrity? And y'all know the Democrats are pretty cozy with celebrities. So in any case, for whatever reason, there's been a lot of discussion about, why not Paul Whelan? Now, the interesting thing is that I think Paul Whelan's family gave a statement, and it started off really good. Then it got really bad, like it left him behind. But listen, this is America, and America plays politics. Something else was interesting today, and hopefully, I know there are some things that's going to may get me. I'm going to probably go away just a second and then come back. So just bear with me here, y'all. Right? I should be back. Okay. So Michael Parsons. I don't know if y'all know who Michael Parsons is, but I'm going to come to another screen, and then I'm going to get back. I'm sorry, let me go back a second. Michael Parsons. Many of y'all may or may not know Michael Parsons, but I'm going to tell you all who Michael Parsons is. Michael Parsons is a member of the Dallas Cowboys, right? He is a member of the Dallas Cowboys. And interesting enough, he sent a tweet that was a very, very, very interesting tweet about Brittney Griner. And I'm going to talk to y'all about that real quick, right? If I can. You need me to come over here? Yeah, come over here. Okay, so he is considered a Dallas Cowboys star. He sent a tweet, and the tweet was just something like, hell no. I'm going to tell y'all what it was here in just a second. But he then conceded that his tweet about Brittney Griner was terrible. There we go. Somebody from Dallas Cowboys probably called him up and said, hey, look, man, you better pull that you better pull that tweet because it doesn't look good. Because everybody's a fan of Brittney Griner, only, not because she's Brittney Griner, but only because of the way she was treated in Russia, right? Like every day, well, actually, first of all, in this country, almost everywhere you go, marijuana is legal. And to think that for the amount of substance that she had, 9 years in prison. I know even me as a former prosecutor, obviously I'm on board that I believe that was just a little bit harsh. But this fella is a linebacker. You see him here. See him right here. Okay, yeah, right here. His name is Michael Parsons. He backtracked after tweeting his frustration that WNBA player Brittney Griner was freed from Russian captivity while Marine veteran Paul Whelan was not. Here's what he tweeted. He said, wait, no, we left the Marine? And he said, hell no. He did this on Thursday morning. Meanwhile, Whelan's brother said it was so important to him to make it clear that we do not begrudge Miss Griner and her freedom. He said the Biden administration made the right decision to bring Ms. Griner home and to make the deal that was possible rather than waiting for one that wasn't going to happen. He said President Biden said Whelan's espionage case is more complicated, but negotiations are ongoing. Now, Parsons here clarified that his tweet was no shot, he said, at Griner before later backtracking after speaking to some people that I respect and trust. Wonder who those were, right? Maybe Jerry Jones, maybe Dak Prescott. I should have been more educated on the topic and not tweeted out of emotion for my family and others who have served. He wrote, I prayed that Mr. Whalen comes home, but am extremely happy for Brittney and her family. I am not too prideful to admit when I've made a mistake. Now, interesting enough, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all something. What he also tweeted, which is not what you just heard, but what he also tweeted was, let me see if I can remember it. We still not voting for you. That's what he tweeted, right? So I thought about that, and I thought about, here's another dumb athlete that can't read, that can't type, apparently cannot complete a sentence that is complete with the proper subject-verb agreement, taken to Twitter to criticize something as national as this Brittney Griner situation. And I wanted to ask out loud on Twitter, this is why Herschel Walker lost, right? This is why Herschel Walker lost, right? Because I'm going to say this. I know I might piss some people off, but, Herschel Walker lost because he was a dumb athlete, first of all, okay? There's a lot of smart athletes, but Herschel Walker was a dumb athlete. And Michael Parsons tweeting, we still not voting for you. Think about that, y'all. We still not voting for you. We still not voting for you. That's an embarrassment to your college, Michael Parsons, an embarrassment to your college. So whenever you decide, Mr. Parsons, to step off the football field and use a little bit of your brain, go back to the old English books, if you had any in college, but go back to the old English books in high school and recognize that there is a rule in English, and it's called subject-verb agreement, right? It means that, a singular must be matched with the plural, right? A plural must be matched with the singular. Just FYI. Anyway, you should have known better than that. Anyway, I am going to jump into something else here, but before I do that, I am going to, before I come back and talk about Herschel Walker. Y'all want to hear me talk about Herschel Walker, okay? This is Carl Price, Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. I will be right back.
Sounds like we have at least 3 injuries, one bleeding from the head. Our caller also stated that one party is unresponsive with severe injuries. They believe it may be fatal.
I don't want them, no, get them all off me. Say that for L, she a cause, you see. 4 cars deep, we'll come through on a late night. Chicken spot, wings and fries, we call that a day night. Lights on, so out, I don't have no stage fright. Knew that I was built for this forever, ever, ever.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
We ride bands, 10 times 10, all my friends, this for real.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
All right. Herschel Walker. Y'all know Herschel Walker lost. Sort of everything you expected from Herschel Walker, you got during the campaign, right? And I think Joy Reid of MSNBC's The Joy Reid Show just said it best. Herschel Walker met all of the Southern white Georgians' stereotype of a black man to be a candidate. And I know some people take offense to that, but don't just take offense to it just because you heard it. Think about it, analyze it, and go back and look at this campaign and realize that that's exactly what he was a puppet. And how he qualified to be a puppet, because he's an athlete, He obviously can't talk very well, can't complete a decent sentence, kind of like Michael Parsons. He just fits every stereotype of some people in this country of a black man, you know. So that's what we had. But anyway, Herschel Walker's loss is a very, very bad sign that he had any chance at all, right? Now, you all know by now that Senator and the Reverend Raphael Warnock defeated Herschel Walker in the Georgia Senate runoff on Tuesday night. Now, we can take heart in the result, if not the fact that 1.7 million people and counting thought Herschel Walker should be a United States Senator. Herschel Walker's candidacy has been kind of like having a shark in the pool. Sure, absolutely sure, it may not have bitten you. If it had chomped you, you may not have died. But why is there a shark in the pool in the first place? Who put the shark in the pool? And what do they get out of it? And why are so many people cheering for the shark? Mr. Walker. To be more precise, why did a lot of people want the shark to have a role in running the pool, despite the shark's demonstrable disinterest in chlorination, lifeguard recruitment, and safe driving practices? A lot of people, millions of people, wanted the shark on the pool management committee. Why? Aren't they in the pool with the rest of us? It feels almost unnecessary at this point to run through Herschel Walker's record as a national political candidate. He was running in Georgia, but said in a campaign speech that he lives in Texas. Every once in a while, his campaign has acknowledged another child he fathered out of wedlock and doesn't have much of a relationship with. The son he does have some relationship with has blasted him and his campaign. He does not deny that he once held a gun to his ex-wife's head and told her he would blow her brains out. He says he doesn't remember that episode because he suffers from dissociative identity disorder. Tell me what that is. Tell me what that is, right? Formerly known, I'll tell you what it is. It's formerly known as multiple personality disorder. Now that is a little scary that there's more than one Herschel Walker. Multiple personality disorder. He does deny the growing number of allegations that he paid for or pressured his partners to get abortions. He does, after all, support banning abortion, even in cases of rape or incest. This is because he is the Christian conservative candidate. That was the rationale that Newt Gingrich, a true man of Christ, offered for making Herschel Walker a United States Senator. So Walker will change the Senate through, and I quote, his deep commitment to Christ. Somebody should tell Newt Gingrich, who used to be the Speaker of the House, that in the United States, the First Amendment does recognize the separation of church and state. He said he'd be a good senator, and he would be very well liked in the Senate through his deep commitment to Christ, according to Newt Gingrich. He said this on Fox News, of course. This was in contrast to Walker's opponent, an actual Reverend. Raphael Warnock is the senior pastor at Atlanta's Ebenezer Baptist Church, where, as most of y'all know this by now, where Martin Luther King Jr. once preached. But Warnock, according to some people, isn't a real Christian because he's a socialist who supports abortion. Walker is a serial entrepreneur who's helmed many companies. Don't ask about him. And don't look back at the previous paragraph, right? For a while, the answer for a lot of people to the question, why make Herschel Walker a senator, seemed to be that if Walker wasn't elected, those people would control the Senate. By Tuesday, that outcome was baked in either way. Democrats had the seats. This runoff has only told us who will represent Georgia in governing all of us. Politics is the process of distributing power and resources. In a democracy, in theory, the people distribute the power to individuals who make the rules and policies that govern all of our lives. No one, not even his foremost backers, has really made the case that Herschel Walker should make the rules we all must live by. He doesn't seem interested in governing the country at all, at least compared to his interest in werewolves and vampires. Y'all remember that during the campaign. But in fairness, the party to which he belongs isn't much different. I'm sorry to my good Republican friends and the ones that are in here. They're more interested in producing their own cinematic competitor to the Russian connection. Yeah, theirs will apparently star Hunter Biden and, like most conservative culture products, will leave something to be desired. Remember inflation, the issue that Republicans retook the House of Representatives promising to solve? I won't be holding my breath waiting to hear about that one. This is the party of and for people fundamentally unserious about governing as a use of political power. The issues are cudgels. You beat the other side with until you win power. Then you pass tax cuts for rich people. Walker fits right in then, right? A dependable vote on the things that really matter. But that he was even remotely viable as a candidate is particularly unsettling. It suggests something is very wrong in the pool, right? Donald Trump was elected to run the pool, a farce. But he'd at least spent decades posing in public as a manager of many grand and fabulous pools. He could whip the national pool into shape. Walker was meekly presented as a business American like Trump, but we've mostly dropped even the pretense. Members of the political media laughed at him, and nobody believed he would be a competent legislator, but he was simultaneously greeted as a serious candidate because he was the Republican nominee, and he was the Republican nominee because the previous charlatan backed him in the primary. One is swamped by the feeling that we're circling the drain, unless, of course, the Republican Party somehow starts nominating actual pool managers again. Who's holding their breath? Right? Hopefully you're not. Interesting. I'm Carl Price. It's Conscious Fever on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. So let's just be honest. I mean, the last few months, and particularly, and the extended few months. First, let me just say what I really wanted to say. The last few months have just been an embarrassment disaster, right? Everything you expected from Herschel Walker, you got. Everything you expected from a puppet, you got, right? And then we were punished even more because the runoff rules in Georgia. The 50%, if you don't get more than 50%, there has to be a runoff, made us listen to that shit all over again. I'm sorry for those with tender ears. But it's over. This bad dream is over. We woke up to the reality that the person that should have won in Georgia actually won. So now I take my hat off. Actually, I didn't have it on. So let me put it on and then I'll take it off. Okay? So put my hat on. I take my hat off to the people in Georgia for doing the right thing. And for the 1.7 million, I think it's probably like 1.8 million, 1.7 million, I think it's a little bit over 1.7 million of you who voted for Herschel Walker, shame on you. Now I say shame on you, not really knowing your journey. So maybe I should retract, but I'm not. Because if there's ever a time where shame on you is appropriate, this is the time that it's appropriate. It's clearly appropriate right now. Shame on you for thinking that the political system in this country was so fragile that you could pick a literal dumbass that is totally the opposite of all of your principles. All of them. Like literally all of them. All of Every single one of them. And you chose him. And the sad thing about it was, I'm absolutely certain that there were some qualified white male and white female candidates in Georgia that the Republican Party could have nominated to run against Raphael Warnock. They didn't. Ponder why they chose a black former football star with a disorder. I don't want to talk about all the social shit, I mean, we all have skeletons in our closet, It's just that when you run for office, though, they just get exposed. But the thought that 1.7 million people walked into that voting booth and said, we should do this. We need to vote for Herschel. I even saw a hat that said, "Run, Herschel, run." And I thought that was so insulting. So insulting to me as a black man. Because I want to remind some of the Southern Georgia voters who actually voted for Herschel Walker. We have brains. The yellow brick road to the Oz is something that maybe Herschel Walker needs to go get, but no, we don't need to go get it. And the competent and qualified white men and white women, even if he wanted to nominate them as a candidate in Georgia against Raphael Warnock, they have brains. I'm not a Republican, but I would tell you that I was embarrassed for the Republican Party nationwide that anybody would stand up and support a candidate. This is not about politics. This is about governing. Remember what I just told you, right? What I just told you was that we select people to make rules for us. And we have to be very careful of the people that we protect. That we select. And that's why I don't like politics in any damn thing. But unfortunately, we have to live with it. Anyway, listen, I'm Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. I've been gone for a little bit, and I appreciate you all joining me tonight. I have no idea where our comments are, but if you've commented, I appreciate that. Something is going on. I don't know whether we reconnected in some type of way, but all of the names that I see watching tonight are actually the people that I don't know. So I have no idea what's going on with this system. I'm so damn tired of this technology screwing up, and I don't know. I really cannot explain why I'm seeing thousands of people in my feed that I've never seen before. So I don't know. Anyway, it's Conscious Fever. I'm Carl Price here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. I'm gonna go start my process of actually getting out of here, and I'm gonna actually just I think I'm gonna just start the whole process of doing something totally different with the software that we use here, because there's absolutely no way that y'all can't tell me why this stuff is freezing. So anyway, I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. For those of you here, thank you for joining. Yes. And hopefully I'll be back next week. But it is getting close to the holiday. Thank you. Thanks. It's getting to that time where we have to go shopping and different things like that. What y'all think about the Christmas holiday season? I'm a little older, so it's about gift giving. It's about loving. It's about recognizing people that you appreciate. But I'm about tired of this. Every year, you have to take out of your busy schedule. If you have a busy schedule, I'm sure you all do. You take out your busy schedule. Take out your busy schedule and go out and take a guess as to what somebody might want as a gift. Hopefully that is the case. Anyway, I got to get out of here. This has been Conscious Fever on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. I am Carl Price, your host. I will pick back up with you all on another day, hopefully next Thursday. Join me then. Hopefully DJ Ice will be back.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
Goodbye.
get them all off me. Taste it out for L, she a cause of scene. 4 cars deep, we'll come through on a late night. Chicken spot, wings and fries, we call that a day night. Lights on, sold out, I don't have no stage right. Knew that I was built for this forever, ever, ever.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
We ride bands, 10 times 10, all my friends, this for real.
I get enough of you. Bright sneakers on, getting ready for a flashback. Time keeps moving on, looking at you feeling like I could never, like I could never get enough of you. And I could never get enough of you. I could never get enough of you.
I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I wake. Now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I wake.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price on 97thebeatfm.com.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes it is. Then I go, brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking me back down on the knee. Oh, there've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long. But now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change shame.